All right, guys, here's our Lesson 1 Explore PowerPoint, where mostly I'm just going to be doing a quick introduction to the course. So we're going to talk a little bit about iLearn and how that works, and then we'll talk about this course specifically, how it works with the due dates and our schedule. We'll talk a little bit about the learning module so that you can understand why we've chosen the assignments we've chosen, and then we'll do a quick overview of this week and talk about kind of the purposes of this class and how we hope it will make a personal impact in your life. So just kind of the technical side with iLearn, make sure that you go to mybyui.edu and log in. And each week's lesson is going to have the following activities. There will be a prepare assignment, an explore activity, and enrich activities, and then a reflection opportunity at the end of each week, so the end of each lesson. And then the prove part, the exams, there's actually only 2 exams, a midterm and the final for the semester. There's just lots of quizzes in between. So there's that's kind of the general setup. And be sure to consult the semester schedule. I'm going to show you real quick what it looks like on iLearn. Hopefully this should be recording as well. So when I go into our class, first thing we see are the announcements. Right now there's just kind of a generic one from the global iLearn thing, but there's also my introduction post, and if I keep scrolling down, there's the class meeting survey that I hope you will take. Each week there will be a new announcement that says like L01 for this week, lesson 1. Notes from Sister Groneman. So each week we'll have a little video and kind of some a spiritual thought, and then the calendar for the week, and then usually just some little extra thing at the bottom that will be helpful to you either right at that moment or later in the week. So that's the first thing to notice is just those announcements. And then over here, there's the content browser. This is going to be super helpful to you as well. Just getting to the content of our class. And then here, the calendar will tell you when things are due, but that's not necessarily helpful for when you should actually complete those assignments. So I'm going to show you again a little bit different way of how I like to look at our due dates here as we go. So for this week, you hopefully have already looked into the welcome part and the instructor resources. You hopefully have looked in the welcome part. I don't see it in this part. Hold on. If I go to content over here, up in the tab area, if I go to overview, that gives you more of my information if you ever need to get a hold of me. Here's my email, my phone number for texting and calling if you need to. Again, I'm in the mountain time zone, so keep that in mind. This website, this Zoom room, is going to be really handy later on in the course as we have meetings each week. And then it just tells you about my office hours are usually right after our meeting. We'll just stay and answer questions as you have them. All right, so that's the overview. But also, again, if you clicked on this content tab, this little sidebar over here is really helpful to just kind of keep track of where we are in the course. So right now, hopefully you've looked at the welcome part. Instructor resources is for me, not for you. You should not have that. You will have Unit 1 and then Lesson 1. And there's 3 parts to this week. Usually there's 4, but this is our first week, so it's a little different. So first week we've got our questions and conversations, the icebreaker, there's lesson information. This kind of just tells you what this week is all about, just kind of for those of you who like to see it in kind of an outline format, that's what this is. So it'll tell you what our outcomes are for the week, what we are doing for the prepare section, explore, and enrich. Again, I just really like the table of contents view, so I frequently come back to that. So Unit 1, Lesson 1. The other big thing you should notice here is the icebreaker, so make sure you have introduced yourself there. And then the pre-semester attitude survey is just a little quiz where you're going to get all the points, but there are points attached to it. So make sure you do it, but there are no right or wrong answers. So go ahead and take that and just get all sorts of points for free, basically. And then the lesson 1 prepare section. This is a lot of this stuff up here is not going to be around later in the semester. This is just first week stuff. But the prepare section will always be around, and the prepare section usually has instructions on what to read or watch. There may be videos. It also has the link to the prepare quiz. This one is a 1-part quiz, but sometimes there's 2 parts, so there would be a second row underneath here that has a second part. Usually the first part is multiple choice, and the second part is fill in the blank. Also notice that it says allowed 3 attempts. So if you take a quiz and you don't feel like you did great on it, you are welcome to study again and try again. So we're not trying to really trip you up or trick you in this class. We really want you to succeed, and that is why we do give you those attempts. If there's some grading discrepancy and you think maybe I graded the first attempt and not your third attempt, please let me know. I sometimes don't notice those attempts. It's not easily visible on my from my point of view, from my perspective as an instructor on iLearn. All right, so that's the prepare section. The explore section, usually the explore section is where we will be having our class meeting. And again, that usually is near the beginning of the week so that you have the rest of the week to study it. And those of you who can't come to the meeting have time to view the recording before you take your Explore quiz. And the quiz, again, is, I think they're all just 1-part quizzes about our class. So they should tie back to what we do in that online meeting. All right, so prepare, remember, was reading, maybe some videos to watch. Explore is our live meeting that we're going to have, or the recording if you can't make it to the meeting. And then enrich is usually an essay the first week. So you'll notice each unit in this course is divided into 2 lessons. So unit 1 has lesson 1 and lesson 2. In the first lesson of each unit, you will be writing an essay about some topic, and it will tell you what it is in the enrich options. So this week, you're going to be writing about, you're going to find an article by a general authority about finding truth, and you can use all sorts of good stuff, but just make sure that this week you do not use this talk from Elder Scott from October 2007, because we're going to be using that talk next week, so we don't want you to double up on that. So make sure you find a different talk, not Elder Scott's talk from October 2007. So you're going to you follow these directions to write your essay. You are going to post your essay to, it's called the Enrich Essay Submission folder. So you will need to write your essay, make sure you follow all the directions, and then just in terms of format and word length, how many words you need to have. And then you'll turn it in through the assignment submission folder, I guess is what that's called. You could go to assignments and get to it from there, or again, you can go through the table of contents and get it to submission. So you're going to add attachments and add your paper there. We do use a program called Turnitin in this class, and I'm going to talk more about that next week. But it's a plagiarism checker. The point is just make sure you are submitting your own work and not copying other people's words, whether accidentally or on purpose. All right, so enrich essay submission there. Then you're going to copy what you wrote for your essay, and you're going to stick it on the enrich discussion board. So there's no new stuff here. You just have to copy it and then paste it onto the board. One thing I want to show you right here is it shows you when all these things are due. So the initial post for the discussion board is going to be due Saturday, and then you need to do comments during lesson 2 of next week. So that is the 2-part enrich assignment. So the first week of each unit, so again, this time it's lesson 1 is when you write your essay, submit it through the essay submission folder where I'm going to grade it, as well as posting it to the Enrich discussion board by Saturday. Then next week, so during lesson 2, your Enrich section is not going to be writing an essay. You've already done that. You're going to go back to that discussion board and respond to 2 other essays by your peers. So you're going to read their essays and respond to them by Thursday, and then you will respond to anybody who commented on your paper by Saturday. This will all make hopefully a little more sense when we see our calendar as it's coming up here in my presentation. All right, so I would get just really familiar with that content tab. Again, each unit has 2 lessons, and each lesson usually has a prepare, explore, and an enrich section. And remember, the enrich one is the one where the first week you write the paper, the second week is where you discuss the paper. And then usually, there isn't one this week, but usually there's also a reflect section where you're going to take a quick survey that just asks if we did what we were supposed to. Did we teach you what we had hoped? So this is kind of an extra credit opportunity. Each one of these quizzes is worth a point. And, you know, if you add that all up, 14 points for these 14 lessons is a significant thing. That's an enrich essay is about 15 points. So if you just do those reflection points, then you don't have to write one of those essays. I am not suggesting you do that, but it is an extra credit opportunity. So make sure you take those reflection quizzes. Again, there's no right or wrong answer. It just helps us to know if we are doing our job right. All right. So again, get really familiar with this table of contents. We've got Unit 1, and then Unit 2, we have 7 units. Each has 2 lessons inside of it, each with prepare, explore, enrich, and reflect. All right, now let's look at how those translate to a calendar. So each week, I would love it if you would respond to our spiritual thought on the questions and conversations board on Mondays. Usually, I'm leaving this on Tuesday, but it may be a different day depending on what you guys say in your survey of when you're available. But usually, in the past, I've had my meeting on Tuesday evenings where we will come to the Zoom room classroom. So this is a live video conference kind of thing where I will be teaching the lesson. You guys will be helping me out and answering a lot of questions and teaching each other. So please be ready with some microphones and webcams. Microphones at the least. Webcams are great, though. I love to be able to actually see you. This is kind of our substitute for having a lecture, as well as questions like an office hour. So please make sure if you can come to that. Most students who do really well in this class are those who come to these meetings, because it gives them an opportunity to really interact as well and to ask the questions that they needed answered. So if you can come, please try to attend and let me know when you can come. All right, so generally Thursdays, nothing is really due at the beginning of the week. You're just doing lots of preparing and the class. And then things are due later in the week. So by Thursday at 11 o'clock Mountain Time, we have our prepare quiz. Sometimes they're in 2 parts, so please make sure you take both parts of that quiz. And then on Thursday also, I'm going to skip this one because it says week 2. So if we're pretending we're on our first week of each unit, you're going to do your prepare quiz on Thursday. Then Saturday, you're going to do the explore quiz, which again is based on that live meeting. And then you'll post your enrich essay and the discussion board post that week 1. So remember, week 1 is when you write the paper and then copy and paste it onto the discussion board. All right, then you'll have your reflection quiz, that little extra credit point. All right, then let's start back over and pretend now we're on week 2 of each unit. Same thing for Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. You'll still have a prepare quiz on some different information. But here's where the difference is. By Thursday of that second week is when you need to put in at least 2 responses to 2 other peers of your peers on their papers. So you will respond to them, grab a pointer here, by Thursday, and then on Saturday you need to respond to those who commented on your paper. So again, the earlier you can do these responses, the earlier you can be done. So if you can read and respond to those discussion boards earlier in the week, you are absolutely welcome to. It's just that they are due by Thursday and Saturday. And then again, Saturday, that second week, is still the same with the Explore quiz and the reflection. So those remain the same. So it's just the Enrich that's a little bit weird, where that first week you write the paper, second week you focus on the discussion board aspect of it. All right. Hopefully that is clear. If not, I expect to see lots of questions on the questions and conversations board. All right. If you are needing an overview of the learning model, please head over to this website. I'm just going to go really briefly. So the general learning model for all classes at BYU Idaho are that we prepare, and of course we even have a section in our class called that, where we do our reading and we get ready for the class, and then teach one another. That's what I really like to do during the Explore part, during our live meeting. I love it when you guys participate. I think it helps you to learn more. It helps your peers to learn more, because you probably can explain something in a way that I can't. So I think teaching one another is one of those undervalued things frequently. And so I hope you will be prepared to help teach. Then there's Ponder Improve, where you're reflecting about what we've learned and whether or not it's applying to your life, as well as this class is really cool because we get to ponder how these scientific ideas can integrate with our religious ideas. And then Prove is that you prove to me that you've learned what hopefully you were supposed to learn in quizzes and in exams. All right, and these are some of the things we're hoping you're doing as you're using this learning model, that you're exercising faith, learning by the Holy Ghost, laying hold on the Word of God, acting for yourselves. This one's important, I think, especially for online classes, where there's going to be a lot of things where you need to step up and either ask the question. I cannot read your mind over a computer nearly as well as I'm sure I could if I were face to face with you. But I need you to ask questions. So you need to act for yourself and either find the information or ask. It's not just going to come to you. And then finally, love, serve, and teach one another. All right, this class in particular is an introduction to science class. It is not an intro to any particular subject. It's not a biology class. It's not an astronomy class. Instead, we are really focusing on the process of science, so how science works and how it can be applied to our lives, as well as how it can be applied to our religious faith. There really is limited emphasis on specifics or memorizing facts, which might be different from a lot of previous science courses, and most people love that. There is a little bit, but not a lot. The big idea is that we're looking at this process of science. So the first section of the class, we're going to talk a lot about how science works, what some of the big ideas are in science in general, and how to analyze scientific claims. And then the second half of the course, we're going to look more closely at that process within the context of some of these major scientific theories. So we're going to look at exploration and discovery by talking about the Big Bang Theory. We're going to talk about testing ideas by looking at the atomic theory. We're going to talk about community analysis and feedback by looking at plate tectonic theory. And then we'll talk about benefits and outcomes by talking about evolutionary theory. So we will get into some specific sciences, but again, it's all within the context of this process that we're hoping you will learn more about. So 5 years from now, I am sure you will not remember how many stars are in the galaxy, but hopefully these are a few of the things that you will come away with in this course. Hopefully you will get a greater appreciation for science in general. I know a lot of you are probably taking this class because you have to, but I do hope that it does arouse in you some curiosity about the natural world and the things that are around us. 2, I hope that it can help you feel more confident that you are a scientist. I hear a lot of people say things like, well, I don't know anything, I'm not an expert. And sure, there's a lot of, detailed things that all of us don't know about certain areas in science. But you really are a scientist. You do this process, the scientific process, every day, and we do it a lot more than we think we do. And then 3rd, I really hope that you come away with some skills in being able to analyze scientific claims and decide if this thing that your friend or cousin or even some stranger on TV trying to sell something, or a politician or whoever it is, that you can decide if what they are saying is true based on some of these scientific skills that you're hopefully will acquire this semester. And again, this knowledge hopefully can change your life. And I have had some students who have just really delved deep into this course and have felt like it really has helped them in their futures and what they're doing and how they view the world. All right, so your Explore quiz this week is very simple. It is these 2 questions here. So number 1, what do you expect to get out of this class? And please don't say to get a good grade. Please give a little bit more specifics on what you're hoping to get. And then number 2, how are you going to achieve that? And again, please don't say, I'm just going to study really hard. Be a little bit more specific. What specifically are you going to do to be able to get there? We are actually going to come back to this quiz at the very end of the semester, and so put something here that you really can do, because we're going to reflect back on this at the end of the semester and see how we did. All right, and so that is what our Explore quiz is for this week. Okay, that is it for today. The last thing I wanted to show you that I missed showing you before was our questions and conversations board. So if you look in the discussions, in each week has a questions and conversations. I have tried to kind of make some threads here that are kind of pre-made so that our questions and conversations board doesn't get really scrambled with lots of random questions. So if you find one that has a topic that fits for you. So if maybe you are confused about where to find a quiz or a discussion board, then that might be in technical questions. So you would click on that and then hit reply to thread and then put your question in there. And then that just helps me kind of see who has technical questions and where they are at. Each week I generally have a space for prepare questions, explore questions, enrich questions, and then just kind of other questions or technical questions that you may have. Usually at the beginning we have a lot more technical questions, and then as we go it gets a little easier. This is also where our spiritual thought will be for you to respond to. Okay, I think I'm officially done, and thank you so much for your time, and I hope that all made all sorts of sense. Thank you. See you.